Welcome back, everybody, to We Talk Film. I'm your host, as always, Barry, joined as always by Clayton. How you doing, Clayton? He's grooving.
Hey,
We're
I'm
dancing.
doing good, Barry. How are you?
Good. I see you got the
always
new
groove.
studio there. You know, you got the green screen rocking. Even though we've got like no effects on the green screen, but you know, people can do whatever they want now.
I can be wherever I want to be. Yeah,
You
if you're
can be
watching this on
wherever you
YouTube,
want to
just
be.
Don't put me anywhere weird. This green screen is not for your use, audience. Yeah, take that. Yeah.
Sure, yeah, but I could use it anywhere I want.
Barry. Oh,
so what's been going on, Clayton? What's the topics? What's happening this week?
Well, this week, Barry, I'm glad that you asked. Otherwise, we would have rambled on about nothing forever.
Yep.
Well, today, Barry, we're covering came out a little while ago, and we just have only recently gotten around to watching it, Gran Turismo. And then we're following that up. We're following the vroom vrooms up with something with less vroom vrooms. We're following. We watched the start of the new season of Loki.
Yes,
we're following Loki through that.
We're following Loki. He also goes vroom vroom, but in time, but not in a car.
Sure. I guess that's one way of saying it. So yeah, we're covering the first 2 episodes on the show today. But before we get to those things, we'll do the press the thing, Barry. It's the time of the week.
Newsweek today.
Newsweek today. As always, I like to kick it off with some trailers that we got this week, and we got some good things and some things that I don't care about. So for the first up, this is something that I definitely do care about. We got a trailer for Invincible Season 2, a show that I'm very excited for because I loved the first season of this show. It was such a cool, refreshing take on genre, and I'm glad to see that it's continuing and it looks just as good. Wouldn't you agree?
It only took them like 3 years to finally get it made, but you know, it's coming. It's here.
It's fine. It's on its way. It's only just around the corner too.
Yeah.
And speaking of things on their way around the corner, this is something that we've already seen. So this is a trailer for Werewolf by Night in color. That's going to come out on Halloween on Disney Plus.
Okay.
It's the thing we got last year, but in color. So
sure, why not?
Doesn't look as
cool.
cool.
Okay.
So whatever.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go back and watch the black and white version.
I mean, I'll watch it in color just so I can see like more of their details on things and see how the costumes look and all the special effects and stuff. But it's just disappointing. Yeah. It's like you already did this. You could have done something better. You could have done a sequel in color.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, do something else. God, whatever. Disney, do you?
God damn it,
and then last thing we got a trailer for is for Monarch Legacy of Monsters. This is the Kurt and Wyatt Russell Godzilla show, and it looks pretty good. Not gonna lie. It doesn't have as much of the monsters as we'd like. It's focusing on the humans, of course, but it looks cool. At least what we're seeing looks cool. Godzilla shows up in it. He's in the show.
Yep. He's in it.
Big.
You'd hope he'd be in it.
Yeah, not in the title, so I was concerned. But no, he's in it. He shows up. So that's moving away from trailers this week. We got a little bit of news from all corners of the internet. The first one is we got news of a prequel film that's in the works, starring Ryan Gosling and Margot Robbie, and it's Ocean's 11, like a prequel to the original. Like the 60s film, Barry.
Yeah, but the original Ocean's film came out in the 1960s. Yeah. So it's like it's a remake of the original, but of the original. But yeah, no, I'm down for it. Like I'm down for it. You know, it's got those two starring in it. They were great in Barbie. And it's going to be kind of cool just to see another Ocean's film set in the 1960s. That sounds like my type of film, to be honest.
I mean, I hope it's good. They're good actors. Hopefully the rest of the talent behind the movie is just as good and they, come up with something fun. Who knows? But speaking of things that... this was a terrible segue. Anyway, Deadpool Born Again lost its writers. They were fired. Apparently the show was written. They had started by the writers. They want a creative overhaul because apparently he didn't put on the costume until like episode 4. And it was more of just lawyer talking show.
Yep.
And Disney are like, no, we need him fighting crime. So they're like, no, we're scrapping it. We're starting again. So that's gonna be pushed back further. And I hope it was the good decision. It could really suck if they do all of this work and then what they put out in the end sucks even more.
Yeah. Or
So
they could just get the
like,
writers that did the Netflix
yeah.
show and be like, hey, come back in. You guys want to do this for us?
Well, that would make sense, but I think that's a little too easy for Disney. Like, that'd be too easy. They gotta think of something a little more complicated than that,
Yep,
Barry.
yep.
God.
As always, as always. God damn it, Disney.
Oh, yeah, god damn it, Disney. Moving away from Disney to the other side of the world, specifically Japan, Crunchyroll, the anime website, channel, whatever, streaming service,
Yep.
the anime has launched a free 24-hour anime channel that you can watch.
Ooh,
Just
nice.
online. It just streams older episode shows, all in the English dub versions for the most part. But it's
That's
just, yeah,
cool.
with
That's
ads, so
cool.
it's just like an online TV channel streaming anime for free, so you don't actually have to pay for the services to watch the shows. So that's always cool.
Yeah.
I haven't checked it out myself, but yeah, it sounds alright if people
No,
are
that I'm
wanting
just
to
gonna have
just
that on the
delve into
background
something.
just all the time because that's the thing. I use Crunchyroll quite often because
Yeah.
of like animation and everything like that. I'm very big into it at the moment.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, just having something like that at the moment would be actually just kind of cool. Just to have it on the background while I'm studying or working on stuff. Background fodder.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah, it makes complete sense, and it's a cool little thing. So
Yeah,
I'm glad
yeah.
that that happened. Now let's move away to something that didn't happen, but something that would have been really weird if it did, because the creators of Rick and Morty have chimed in and said that Zack Snyder, a director that you're very familiar with, approached them with the idea of making a Rick and
Yep.
Morty movie. He wanted to
Yep.
help with that.
Yep.
I don't think I would have ever seen that coming. Or
No,
it's
no.
sure, I guess he's a fan.
Yeah, no, he's a very big fan of Rick and Morty. He plays as Mr. Meeseeks in Fortnite as well. So, like he is a
Yeah.
huge fan of Rick and Morty. So yeah, I was not surprised by it. He has like appeared in Teen Titans Go, where he played as himself in that as well. He's always like up for, like the strangest things. But yeah, it was kind of weird to hear him be like, "Oh, I actually want to direct the film." I was like, "Whoa, okay, that's interesting."
Yeah, sure. I don't know, maybe he wants to dip his toe into animation a little bit, like, I mean, who knows? It could have been cool. I'm sure if they wanted to do that, they would have been like, "Sure, Zach, you can help, you can dir," but I don't know.
Yeah,
It's very weird.
it is strange.
I don't know.
It is
Maybe we'll
strange.
see it at some point. I have no idea. When they run out of seasons, they'll make a movie and end it. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see. All right, but moving away to something similar, animation, Warner Bros. Adjacent, DC, yada yada. Warner Bros. This is a report came out for something that I'm really sad about because they received a pitch a little while ago for an animated combat versus DC film from the makers of the animated
Yes.
Mortal Kombat movies.
Yep.
That came out, and Warner Bros. Said no. They were like, nope, reject that pitch. Don't want to do it. We don't know why. It would have been cool as hell.
That would have been.
They're not. I don't know why because they're not shying away from having the more violence. I mean, they literally did an Injustice movie. Why wouldn't they do an animated MK versus DC one? They're literally doing MK movies. They're doing DC movies. It would have been cool. The
Yeah.
game that's based off of is really cool.
Yeah.
I don't know. It feels like it would have been too easy.
Well,
Again,
that's
they would have made
it's probably
money, and that's too easy.
The time. Well, I'm not sure when they pitched it to and who they pitched it to and stuff like that. Because obviously there's a big changes going up at Warner Brothers at the moment. We're still in the flow of things with James Gunn taking control, and there's a whole new department now from Warner Brothers, and it's a whole thing. Because there was even a pitch idea that I found out about through Warner Brothers when I had association with them. They wanted to do a Bat Hombre. Basically, it was a Mexican version of Batman, animated TV show. Yep. That was a thing that was pitched to Warner Brothers. I even have the concept art somewhere on my computer still, and it looked horrible.
Bat Hombre.
Bat Hombre.
That is the worst thing I've ever heard.
And his little
There's
Robin, instead of Robin, it was called
superheroes,
Ruben.
man.
So yeah. Yep.
Oh
Yep.
my god. For those
Yep.
listening, I'm sighing. Ah,
It is a real thing. Go
that's the
Google
worst
it.
idea I've ever heard.
It
Why?
is the worst
But it's
idea.
like,
That's why it didn't get aired.
I get that, but it's like the MK versus DC movie is a great idea.
Yeah.
Whatever. Sure, you do
All
what you
right,
want
on
to
to
do.
the next news.
Oh, on to the next story, and this is another story that's, again, devastating to hear, and it's a terrible blow to just things that we know and love, movies as a whole, because Best Buy, one of the biggest supermarket chains across the United States, has decided to stop selling DVDs and Blu-rays, making them even harder to get in
Yep.
your general markets. So
Yep.
it's a huge blow to physical media. It's really devastating.
Oh yeah, I already
Because
let out a tear when I saw the news. It's a small,
yeah, I was
subtle
watching a
tear.
Blu-ray last night when I read the story. I was watching The Usual Suspects on Blu-ray,
Yep.
and I was like, "Oh, I'm not going to be able to buy this movie now because at Best Buy." But it's awful because yeah, they're making them harder and harder to get. It's going to be locked into digital, and it's going to be locked into streaming, and you're not going to be able to find anything. So I don't know. We're stocking up now. We're stocking up.
Oh,
We've both
I've
got
been stocking
DVD
up.
collections.
You know I have. It is most
devastating.
random films I've been stocking up on at the moment. I'm just like, I'll grab anything that's in 4K.
It's good because they're going to be worth something. The VHSs now, especially if they're sealed, are worth quite a bit.
Oh yeah,
like thousands of dollars for certain ones. And that's insane to think that DVDs might be heading there soon.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. It's devastating. And speaking of devastating things, this is our last story. Normally I end on something wacky, but I'm gonna end on something a little sad.
The podcast is ending.
This comes.
Oh,
the podcast is over, guys. No,
we're still going. We're still going forever. We're still here. A whole 100 seasons.
Oh yeah. Well, nearly 100 seasons this guy has been alive. Sir Michael Caine has retired from acting as of yesterday or the other day at 90 years old. He's
damn.
Oh, it's a little sad because he's been in so many great movies over the past 70 years. So, but like, I mean, I get it. Dude's 90.
Yeah.
He's like, I just want to chill now. The quote is he wants to leave the leading roles up to some more handsome boys and girls or whatever he said. And I was like, sure, Michael. Sure, chill in your little like mansion or whatever you got. So.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That's cool. But yeah, he made some like really cool films throughout the year. That's the end of the news. But yeah, dear old Michael Caine, I will always remember him as Alfred. Still my favorite pick for Alfred.
That's true. Master Wayne. Master Wayne, what's next?
Do you know why we call Master Wayne? So we can learn to get back up. Rest in peace, Michael Caine, even though you're not dead. I mean, this is the thing, right? You got so he's 90 and retired. You still have Clint Eastwood directing films, and he's still chugging along, and he's older than Michael Caine. You're just like, God damn it, Clint Eastwood.
Clint Eastwood, he was 90 in the 90s. Clint Eastwood is like 407 at this point, and he's never going to retire. He's going to die on a soundstage. I guarantee it.
That is what's going to happen. Guaranteed. Yeah, he's going to make it like 110. He's going to pull a Kurt Douglas.
That's a safe bet. He's going to die midway through shooting a film, and then it's going to come out.
He has to direct the film about his life. That has to be his next film. That has to be his last one. So in the end, he actually dies in the film, but in real life, he also dies.
He dies in the film.
Dun 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 dun.
All right, speaking of insane, Barry, let's move on to our major topic of the night.
The major topic of tonight, let's get into it. I'll play the little intro thing.
Whoopsie. Dude, what is your problem? It's part of the game. It's called racing. If you miss a line in the game, you reset. You miss it on the track, you could die. I know this track. I've raced it 1,000 times. That's what I'm talking about.
So yes,
Oh,
we are talking
boy.
about tonight Gran Turismo, directed by Neil Blomkamp, a film that we did look at potentially going to see, but we did kind of skip it. And now we're talking about it again on the podcast because, we finally got around and there was nothing really out at the moment. So let me tell you a little bit of a storyline
Yay.
of Gran Turismo. So Jan is an avid gamer from Cardiff who spends his days playing Gran Turismo, refusing to succeed in the real world. Meanwhile, in Tokyo, Danny, played by Orlando Bloom, a marketing manager for Nissan Automobile Corporation, is running as an advertising campaign together with the management of Gran Turismo. And he hatches a plan to make a competition for young gamers to basically drive super fast cars, essentially, in real life. And then obviously, things happen. They ran a competition. This is all based upon true events. David Harbour is in it. He's kind of cool in this movie. I really enjoyed him. He plays Jack Salter. But yeah, this is Gran Turismo. And yeah, I was kind of like surprised by all the events that happened in this film, to be honest, and being like, this actually happened in real life too. How the hell did they actually let this happen in real life? Like the insurances and everything like that would have been just like, why are we getting gamers to drive these supercars? They're all gonna die.
Oh, God knows. Yeah.
Orlando Bloom, fucking crazy, man.
He was insane. All right, so... okay, start your engines, folks. Shift straight into third and then stall it, because this movie was honestly one of the most disappointing films I've seen of the year.
Well, for Clayton, anyway.
For me, at least. I went into this movie with pretty much no expectations other than I played the game, and Orlando Bloom and David Harbour were in it. And I was like, they're going to be fine. They're going to be good no matter what movie they're in. So I didn't really have any expectations for their characters, but no, I sat through this 2-hour movie and was like, this is the most boring generic racing film I've ever seen. I know it's based on true events, but like, come on, guys. I really did not like this film, bro.
Damn, you're not liking a lot of films at the moment. You've become very cynical since you've become a director. It's like, what happened, man? You changed, man. Oh, okay. So, let's talk about it then. So what were the big problems you had in the film then? Like we'll start from the beginning.
Right,
let's go.
Let's talk about what I liked first, because I think that's an easier list. For starters, I liked David Harbour. He was the best part of this movie. He was funny. He was always entertaining when he was on screen. But he didn't do much. He was there to deliver one line of exposition, and that was his character. Orlando Bloom, he was again cool. Didn't really do much. He just kind of set up things.
No, he was just kind of in the background a lot more than I was thinking. Like David Harbour's in this a lot more than Orlando Bloom, where Orlando Bloom is the guy that set up the competition and everything, and he's like probably barely in it, less than 10 minutes, I would say, of the entire film.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? You got Orlando Bloom to be in this film and you just like barely ever use him?
That's true. And I also liked a lot of the camera work on the actual racing itself. I feel that was really cool, especially when the camera goes behind the cars and it looks like the game. Stuff like that. Really cool. And then there's everything else about the movie. Every other actor I felt was forced and awful. The main dude was just so bland and boring. He just didn't change at all throughout the whole movie. Nothing. It was stupid and pointless. His girlfriend was there for the sake of him having a girlfriend. His parents were there for the sake of saying, you can't do this. Oh, you can do this now? Cool. Wait, hug it. Okay, cool.
Yeah, it wasn't really touched on like that either. Because I was thinking, right, they were going to be like, oh, they've got Digimon Hosani, which is the father, Steve Martinborough. Yes. I was thinking, they brought him in to be like, they're going to have some really emotional scenes between the son and the father.
Yeah.
Like, no, they don't. Barely ever do. They actually have more emotional scenes between David Harbour's character and the main character, which is like, okay, they're doing like a father and son dynamic between those two, but they're not. There's this like crew chief and driver type thing, and there was a lot more emotional scenes between those two. Like Jan Martinborough and Jack Salter, David Harbour's character, like their characters worked really well together. The acting performance between those two, I think, was really quite well done. That was probably the only standout thing with the actors and everything like that was the relationship
Yeah.
those two had when it happened, which wasn't even still a lot. Like,
yeah, I feel like again, that's mostly on David Harbour carrying those scenes.
Yeah.
Because if you look back at any of them, if you took David Harbour out, it would have just been so boring. It's like the main character on his own is not interesting. He needs this world around him. And coming from Blomkamp, one of my like favorite filmmakers of all time, the dude who did District 9, one of the most like out of nowhere emotional films. I was really hoping that something like this would hit a lot harder than we expected it to, and it didn't hit at all.
Yep.
Yeah, and then oh god, the CGI in the film was awful.
Yeah.
It was bad, and even them
bad.
like recording the game, it looked bad because they're just recording a TV screen. It looks so dull and lifeless compared to how the actual game looks. It's like you could have touched this up to make it look like you're not literally just filming a freaking screen. And then the movie itself was so grey. Why was everything so grey?
Yeah,
It was
I don't think like
lifeless.
anything was color graded or depending on what camera
No.
they used. So
I
it was
know.
really just a bizarre film.
When I think of Gran Turismo, I'm thinking of like vibrant cars and awesome scenery and lots of reds and things, but not lots of greys. It was so dull. This movie was dull.
But just going back to the reason why it might have looked bad on the CGI and everything like that. I just searched up the budget for this film, $60 million.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can definitely see it. Well, here's the thing. Because we have films that came out recently that I have not gone to see maybe another time this week. It's in this right. I've only seen it 3 times, but there's a film called The Creator. If you haven't gone and seen it, go and watch last week's podcast, where that was done on a budget of $80 million. And that looks absolutely phenomenal. Even the CGI work in that is phenomenal. But yeah, this is still 60 mil. I know there's a 20 million difference, but still, we're getting to that point now where you can do a lot of really cool things on a very tiny budget, especially CGI. And obviously, I still understand because I still understand that
you go
they were trying to make it realistic as possible with Gran Turismo and everything like that because of obviously the cars and everything like that for it. But even still, there were some scenes where they had the cars that were fully CGI looked worse than the actual video game version of the car. And I'm just like, what's going on?
Yep. I know exactly what you mean, Barry. It's like, there's a $20 million difference between this and The Creator, which has one of the greatest looking CGI, like some of the greatest CGI I've seen this year. And this movie was so bad, and it had like 5% of the CGI shots that The Creator had. A lot of it was real. A lot of the car stuff was real. They had the real cars. They didn't even show the biggest crash in the film as a CGI thing. It's like, where did the 60 million go? Apart from paying for the licenses and having really rich cars.
Yeah.
It's so disappointingly dull, this movie, and I honestly would have skipped it if I had known. You talk about it, Barry. Talk about the film.
Well, I still enjoyed it a bit more. So it did start off, I think, strongly, and everything. And the whole idea behind this film, it is basically an underdog story. All right, it's basically any underdog story. I'm there for it. I'm loving it. Just not as good as like Rocky per se. But yeah, I thought it started out all right. I was like, oh, I can see where this is going and everything like that. And then the pacing for it just kind of it went way too fast for what they wanted to show. And this is what I was thinking. And I actually did watch another review for it. This should have been done more as a mini series than an actual movie. Because then if it was a mini series, then we could have seen like his growth a lot more as a racer and the actual training and everything like that. Because I thought the training part, that was going to be the entire film. I thought the majority of the film was going to be about his thing. But no, they just do at his entire like racing life, his racing career essentially. And
it was
probably the only like really emotional part to it was actually when he had that accident scene. Because I know nothing about this race car driver. I knew nothing about this film. I didn't even know it was based upon true events and anything like that. So when that scene happened, when his major car accident, I was like, oh damn. Like, that boy's fucked. Like, especially the way they flipped the car and everything like that. I was like, damn. And then it turns out, like, that corner or whatever So many people wrecked their cars there, like so many times. I was watching footage of like other people doing it. It's like, that's a bit terrifying.
I've done that in the game on the exact corner, so it's like not that surprising. But let's go.
I feel like there was a lot of things missed out through this, especially like at the beginning, because it was literally like 15 minutes of him training, and then that was it. It's like, oh, here's your career now. Whereas like they should have done more touched upon that, especially later. They bring back some of the races again that were part of his training as well, and everything. Like, it would have been more cool to see those characters grow a bit more as well. And just seeing like having more that the relationship between David Harbour and Jan himself, Jack Salter's character, because obviously they are very emotional and everything like that. Well, very know one another quite well by the end of the film, and it's like you don't really see that really too much, I would say. No. And that's the thing, because I was just reading like a thing now. Apparently his crash happened after his 3rd place at Le Mans, or 2 years after he got 3rd place at Le Mans. So it wasn't even before Le Mans.
They jumped around a little bit.
They jumped around a little bit as well.
That does make sense, because they wanted to throw a thing. But if this was a mini series, it would have worked, because it spends so long on 30 races or whatever he's in. And all of a sudden, he's like one of the best drivers in the world after 10 minutes of training, and all of his friends got kicked out. But then they come back at the end to join him for the biggest race. It's like, why are these people allowed in a race car? None of those guys have their license. None of those guys have trained. And also, you have not touched this car before. Why are you suddenly using a different car for Le Mans that you've never drove and they've never driven? It's stuff like that threw me out even more. I'm like, this is the stupidest thing I've ever seen. And it's like so disappointing, because we don't care about the characters because we don't get to spend enough time with them. And then you get like stupid moments like that take you out of it. So
well, that's the thing, because you're like going off the trailers and everything like that. There was one good point to have it, like the guy that played Jan's character. I thought he was going to be a total asshole coming from what I saw in the trailers, because in the trailers he seems like he's up himself type thing. But he's like, oh, he's actually like an alright guy type thing throughout the film. But we just didn't see like enough of that side to him when he was having like serious problems, especially after like the crash scene and everything like that. Because it's literally like he has the crash. All right, you're going back to racing. That was literally it. And it's like he accidentally, even as well in real life, and it's obviously sad to talk about, he did kill one of the spectators, unfortunately, in the accident. But that is part of motorsport. It happens quite often and everything like that. And that wasn't really like touched on, I think, enough more than it should have been. Because that's a pretty major crash that he had. Even though like it was bad CGI work and most of it was inside the car, you actually felt like the immersive like car crash itself. The one good thing about this film, was when they did the car shots and everything like that, I thought it was very intense. I thought majority of the time it felt like when you're playing the video game, a lot of those camera angles that they did have was just like, oh, this is what video game players would like feel immersed as when they're driving. And even some of the angles is like some of the angles you had playing like Gran Turismo and everything like that, like from the back upwards of the car and everything. So like the camera angles and everything like that, most of the time were like pretty spot on. You know, you felt intense in those scenes. But then when it was just out of the car and you're having these emotional scenes with these characters, it just wasn't really quite there. Like there could have been more. Yeah. You could see they wanted to do more. There was something there, but I'm guessing because of time constraints of a film, and that's the thing, it already goes over 2 hours. Like it just wasn't there. They had to cut it down. And it would have been nice to see like more of his career and more of his growth as a racer as well. So as a miniseries, I think it would have done a more better job of telling his story as well.
Yeah, no, I think so. Should we move on to final thoughts and ratings for Gran Turismo?
Final thoughts and ratings for Gran Turismo. Well, I'm going to give this 5 out of 10. I did enjoy it mainly because even with the car scenes and everything like that, it was still very intense, those scenes, and especially when that major car accident does happen, I was like, oh damn, type thing. Like that hit me. And everything like that. And I do really like David Harbour's performance. You know, David Harbour in anything, I actually still kind of enjoy. He's just a cool guy. I wish we got to see more of this story about Jan Martinborough. Like I said, if they did it as a miniseries, I feel like we could have seen more of the growth of his character and everything like that. And I wish we got to see more of Orlando Bloom, because he's the guy that came up with the idea for the thing, and then he's just barely ever in the film. And it's just like, okay, cool.
No.
I feel like there would be more involvement with his character throughout it all, but you know.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Yeah, if this was a mini series, it would have worked. We could have had the time for the races. If they did a Last of
Yeah,
Us
yeah.
instead of a Gran Turismo, it would have worked because we jump around race to race so quickly. It's like none
Oh,
of it
yeah.
matters because all of a
Yep.
sudden he's the best driver in the world. And you don't care about any of the characters. There's so many dull moments. David Harbour was the only really good thing, and he was on screen for like 10, 15 minutes of this movie.
Yep.
But again, yeah, he's always good to see. So I was enjoying that, and I did like the scene where he crashed and the part where he did kill someone. Felt good. Felt emotionally entertaining. I suppose yeah. It felt emotionally gripping, and especially when he's in the hospital after that, dealing with the fact that he just killed someone. That like 10-minute section that was really good. But then after that, he forgets about it. He's like, yeah, whatever, that happens. And I'm like, well, I would have liked you to see you deal with that a bit more, but that's okay.
Oh yeah.
So I'm giving it a 4 out of 10. Look, it's far from the worst movie that I've seen in a while, but it's even further from the best movie. So yeah, 4 out of 10 from me.
Yeah, well, it's definitely no Flash, you know, because that shit's horrible.
We gave Flash a 3, and I'm looking at that. That's generous. That was really generous of us.
Yeah, I wanted to give Flash a 1.
Man.
More than I think about Flash now and everything like that.
Yeah.
I'm just like, it's fucking crap, that film. Oh, it's horrible.
Oh,
Horrible.
man.
Never watch it again. All right, well,
Awesome.
back onto some other news about a great TV show that has started airing again. We are talking about season 2 of Loki. That's right, we're back with some more Loki-ness, you could say. Tom Hiddleston is back as one of the best Marvel characters ever. I am absolutely loving the show already. We're only 2 episodes in. So we'll start with episode 1 first, called Ouroboros. So basically this tag along the end of the first episode, or the end of the first season, should I say. So at the TVA, Loki slips through time. He and Morbius turn to a technician, OB, Ouroboros, to help them. But the cure is more dangerous than the condition. Meanwhile, the TVA deals with the news that they've been killing millions of people as they prune timelines. So yes, we're still coming off the backbone of the end of the first season, which basically did the whole multiverse thing, you know? Sylvie killed the one that must not be named or something like that.
He who remains.
He who remains.
It's not Voldemort.
He's the same thing, right? Just don't give him a nose in one version.
Slightly more of a nose.
Yeah, slightly more of a nose. But yeah, we're obviously on the back burner of that, starting things again. And yeah, Tom Hiddleston is back as Loki. Owen Wilson is back as Morbius. And this time around as OB is Ki Hyun Kim, also known as Short Round Indiana Jones and Everywhere All at Once.
How did you pronounce his name then?
Ki Hyun Kim? I don't know. How do you pronounce it?
Harry.
Ki-Wan?
Ki-Hei Kwan.
Ki-Hei Kwan?
What? Yeah. What do you...
no, I don't know. I'm just going off, off here. Hey, I did Jan Martinborough earlier.
That's true. You did get that one. You got 1 of 2.
I got 1 of 2.
God damn it, Barry. All right. Okay. All right. Let's talk about Loki.
Back onto it.
Okay.
Let's talk about Loki. You can start off talking about Loki.
Oh boy. Oh, I would love to start off talking about Loki because you know what's really funny, Barry, is this show before it came out, the director of it didn't say that this was unlike anything we've ever seen in the MCU before. You know how they always doing that.
They always doing that.
The one time they haven't.
Nope.
And this is the one time it feels like it because going into this season, it's so different from the first in terms of just a technical point. The episode opens and everything is shot differently. Like it's really interesting just how different this show feels in between seasons, really.
Yeah.
And it adds a sense of intensity to it, especially this first episode, which I think nailed it, kicked it out of the park, just on its cinematography alone, because I loved just how everything felt. It was so amazing. Everything felt so grounded, and the acting was really good.
I really want to find out the camera that they used for the season 2, because even still, it looks a little bit like different than the first season. But no, this is the thing.
Yeah,
it actually looks like a film camera, not digital. It looks like film. Like you can see film grain and stuff like that in certain scenes. So I'm just like, did they do that in like After Effects and stuff like that, or did they use like a film camera? I don't know.
Considering it's for Disney Plus, you'd think it would be a digital camera, right?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
if they did that in film, there'd be a whole other process of transferring that over, and I don't think they'd do that. So it's probably just digital with effects chucked on it. But it's really impressive.
Yeah.
Just that they're doing that. It looks great. I love
It
this.
does. It does.
I just love how this is shot. Everything about it's really cool. So yeah, what happens in the first episode, Barry? What happens plot wise? Oh, and sorry, spoilers, everyone. We forgot the button.
Oh, where's the button? There's the button. There's a spoiler button, as always.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
What happens in this episode?
So basically, we've got Loki basically time ripping. I forget what they call it in the episode. Time slipping.
Time jumping.
Time slipping. Time jumping. Time slipping. Where basically he's going through different. He's going back in time and then also forward in time on his current timeline, and he's getting ripped apart every single time. And they make the most funniest joke eventually when Morbius and Loki see each other, and he's like, "Oh no, it looks fine. It looks fine." And then it happens again, and he's just like, "Oh no, oh no."
I lied. It doesn't look
looks
fine
horrible.
at all.
No, it doesn't.
Well, thanks, Morbius. Yeah. Tom Hiddleston's like,
and then obviously, they go to see OB, who is a technician, and quite an interesting, unique little character they've made him. I don't know anything about this character comic book wise or anything. I've never heard of him before. But he is such a fun little guy, and like the small little details they've added in. I'm just like, well, this guy's been around at the TVA for like even before Miss Minutes was a thing, or around the same time.
Yeah,
because he like knows everything. He wrote the instruction guide for the TVA as well. So it's like, who is this character? You know,
I have no idea.
And he's this quirky little guy.
I'm not sure if he's a character from the comics or if he's something they've created for this show. Because if he is from the comics, I guarantee he's nothing like this. Because the actor just brings this whole new level of fun to it.
Yep.
That if he is from the comics, they're changing him into this. Like, like they're doing a Tony Stark with a Robert Downey. That this is now OB, and he's so fun. He's just every time he's on screen, he was stealing the show.
Yep.
I don't know how he does it. It's just so entertaining.
And then the coolest part of the first episode was like, obviously you got Loki time slipping and going back in time, but then he meets like a younger version of OB before they met in the present day, being like relaying stuff through time to help Loki fix himself from time slipping and everything like that. And he's like, oh, wait a minute. I remember. Why do I remember? Because Loki's obviously back in the past instructing him or telling him what to do and everything for the future or the present. It was just like, that was such a cool little fun scene they put all together.
It was so cool.
That.
It was very funny. I don't even have a time grabbing machine. Oh wait!
Wait a minute!
Time grabbing machine, and it's he just pulls one up. So fun! I love that. Yep. It's so different from even Loki season 1 already.
Yeah,
it might change as the show goes along, but as of right now, it's really interesting and really different. Considering there's not really a villain yet either. It's just kind of Loki messing around, trying to sort things out and make sense of everything that's happening, and it's weirdly entertaining to watch because we don't know anything. They don't know anything
yet. He's just basically trying to tell the TVA who he saw at the end of time, essentially, of the end of last episode, and he's trying to find Sylvie as well. That's a whole nother thing that leads into the second episode. But yeah, they're just like trying to basically recap as to what's going on because of the end of the first season. And, you know, they're trying to get all together. All the timelines are going out. The multiverse is breaking apart, essentially, and they're trying to fix it. And basically, Mobius has to like put this insert time machine thing into the timeline, and that's like a whole scene. He gets like a vacuum suit going and everything, very much like Space Odyssey vibes going on. And then, you know, just a bit of tape to like any leaks or anything like that on his helmet. That was funny. He's like, "You'll be fine. You won't die."
Oh, it was very funny.
And then he like,
is that a crack? No problem.
Sucks Loki out of the time as well, so he's like fixed, and it was a whole thing. Like, there's a lot of detail in this episode, and I've only watched it once, and I really want to watch it again because of the second episode. So we'll get into final thoughts and everything on the first episode, and give our rating on the first episode anyway, so we can talk about the second episode.
Okay. Yeah, sure. All right. Well, yeah, this first episode is probably one of the best MCU opening episodes. Like,
Yeah.
I'd put it up there with, like, I don't know, Moon Knight, because I love that one just as much as this.
Yes.
It was,
Yep.
again, the
Yep.
intrigue of what's going on. You don't know anything. They don't know anything. You don't find out anything, and it's so good to watch. And yeah, this one kills it, and it's shot in such a different way. So honestly, I think this opening episode might be a 10 out of 10
Damn.
for an
Okay.
MCU show. I'm giving, yeah,
Wow.
first episode a 10 out of 10.
That's impressive.
I loved it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's
Yeah,
that's cool.
and I'll tell you how I feel about the second episode in a little bit, but this first episode is a 10 out of 10. And if this was just that was the show, yeah, it's 10 out of 10. There you go. Bang,
10 out of
bingo,
10.
bango.
Starting with a high. Wow. Okay. Well, I'm going to give this
Yeah.
episode
It only goes
8.5
down from
out of 10. You know,
nice.
it's still very impressive. Like I said, whoever the cinematographer is for this season, I have to do some research and find out who it is because it is very different compared to even the first season already. I'm
I
just
love
like,
it.
who
I
have
love
they
it.
gotten to actually shoot this time around? Because it looks like so good. Like it looks so well done.
Yeah.
Obviously, yeah, it's the first episode and everything like that. There's a lot going on, a lot of things, a lot of characters. We're still trying to find out as to what's going on for the story wise and everything like that. But yes, Tom Hiddleston as Loki is absolutely perfect as always. Owen Wilson and everyone else is just absolutely just key in this TV show.
So
and
good.
yeah, so good. So yeah, I'm
So
giving
good.
it 8.5 out of 10 on the first episode. So we'll get into episode number 2. Spoilers again, everyone. I actually pressed
double
it the time.
spoilers.
Double spoilers. So Loki and Morbius hunt down a renegade hunter turned actor, while Obi and Casey join forces to stop a temporal meltdown. While Loki and Sylvie are reunited, General Dox takes extreme measures to the sacred timeline, although it will mean death of billions. Yes, so a lot of stuff happens this episode, and this I preferred this episode more than the first episode of the season.
Really?
Just because alone Tom Hiddleston's performance in this episode was great. We actually got to see like Loki embrace his villainous side a bit more this episode around, which was really cool to see.
Cool.
You know, like I was really hoping that we didn't see a lot of that in the first season because they were trying to make him the hero, the standout type thing, even though he still is logically a villain, and where we actually got to see that this time around because the hunter that they track down or whatever keeps playing with his mind. I forgot his name, Hunter D90, I think it was. Oh no, Brad Wolf. Brad Wolf.
Something like that.
Yeah, because he's like obviously trying to be an actor and everything like that. And they go back in time trying to find Sylvie because apparently Brad Wolf knows where he is. And then we find that he was in some horror thriller film and he's becoming an actor in that timeline now because he's just like, I have a life here type thing. They're like, no, you're going back to us. And then Loki straight up like threatens him, uses his dark, ominous powers against him, which is a really cool scene with the shadow play and everything like that they use.
It's very cool. He gets kind of like the Loki ears come up as like shadows. I'm trying to do it on the green screen.
Trying to do it on the green screen.
Light's not bright enough.
And then obviously they take him back to the TVA, and then they have a few problems with him and everything like that. He's not releasing any information as to what's going on. So then Loki straight up threatens him. He's just like, yes, I am a villain. I could do some very bad things to you. But doesn't do anything. The one that does do something is Mobius. Mobius punches him in the face because he also gets angered as well. And then they go and get some key lime pie, which actually looked really nice, but quite disgusting at the same time. It looks so artificial.
Very green. I don't think it would have tasted very nice. But yeah, this episode was really good. Again, the performances have carried this show so far because considering not much story-wise has happened, they're just building it. It's the performances themselves that are carrying it. Long sections of this show are just characters talking back and forth to one another, yet it's thrilling and tense because they don't know what's going on. There seems to be really high stakes, and it's great. I love that kind of stuff, and I feel like the MCU needs more of that and less of the punchy. I know you have lasers and you have this thing. So it's great to see this side of things. And it was also great to see Loki doing some magic-y power stuff that we haven't seen him do before. The shadow play was cool. The threatening was really awesome. And the illusion stuff that he learned from the first season as well was really great to see. So we're getting the cool MCU action, but we're getting the intense dialogue that improves it to another level. But this episode started to let me down towards the end. And yeah, when they're doing the action stuff and when they get Sylvie, I feel like it kind of just slowed a bit, and it kind of lost its momentum towards the end of the episode. But I'm betting that's just because it's a 6-episode series, so there's bound to be moments where it loses its momentum. It's so hard to avoid that in a TV show.
Yep. So obviously, towards the backbone at the end of this episode, they find Sylvie. She's working at McDonald's in the 1980s or whatever, something like that. She's working at Mackey's. Mackie D's.
Why not?
Sure, why not? And obviously, there is a very touching moment between Sylvie and Loki and everything like that. They have like a quiet discussion as to what went down at the end of the first season, and what's the next step, what's going on now. And then we find out that General Docs, who's the TVA's security manager and stuff like that, is basically going around pruning all the timelines and everything, trying to reduce everything so the TVA goes back to normal. But in return, so they killed billions of people essentially, and that's what leaves on to the next week's episode type thing. As because the reasons for that. But it was a really touching moment to see, like, obviously Loki and Sylvie have that discussion with one another and being like, hey, everything that went down, my bad type thing. Just what's the next move here? What's going to happen? Because I feel like the chemistry between those two actors and those two characters are just on point. And especially when they're basically the same character, they're just different variants of one another.
They joke about that as well.
Yeah, they joke
when
about
Owen
that
Wilson's joking about, it's like, we're kind of in love with himself. I'm like, wow. I'm like,
wow.
Very weird.
Yeah,
very weird. But the performances are carrying this show. And I probably give the second episode an 8. Like, it's just started to lose its momentum, but I hope that the next episode picks it up. I've got high hopes for it, considering the performances are this good. The actors are giving it their all.
Yep.
Like, I really want to see this show finish home strong and not be a gradual decline.
Yeah, no, this is definitely like one of the better like MCU things to come out in recent years, I would say. Like, I put the acting on this on par with like what they did for like Guardians and everything like that. Just the chemistry between everyone in it and stuff like that is just on point compared to everything else that Marvel is doing. The only like standout ones has been the films and TV shows that have been like these emotional characters to them, that the actors are bringing their A game to it. The writers are actually like, no, this is how people will talk to one another in these scenarios. They're being realistic somewhat about it in this very messed up world.
Good dialogue.
Good dialogue. We're actually getting good dialogue, which is very far in between in a lot of films these days. But it is very hard to write good dialogue. But it's just like Disney are paying very large amounts of money to make these shows, make these films, and this is another big thing as well. I think Loki is done on almost half the budget as to what Secret Invasion was done on. Which I still can't get over, because this has more better visual effects already in the first episode than it did the entirety of Secret Invasion.
There was not a single bad CGI shot in this show so far that I can remember. And that's impressive considering all the wacky shit that's happening. And like Secret Invasion had no wacky shit and looked awful. I don't get it. We don't talk about that one anymore, Barry. Let's ban talking about
Secret Invasion. Hopefully they never continue it. Oh, wait a minute. They got the Marvels coming out.
Oh, shit. Oh, do we have to go watch that one?
I'm leaving that up to you, man. You're the one you're the producer for the podcast. I just host.
Am I? Okay. I guess I am.
You tell me what to do. I feel like that's how this job works.
I feel like I got promoted. It's like, technically I am kind of running the show.
Yeah, you are.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I have to raise my chair up slightly now.
Just wait a minute here. But I would give this an episode another 8.5 as well. I still quite enjoyed it, and I feel like it's on par with last week's one. Just because the performance alone this week with Tom Hiddleston was just like, this is what I want to see. I want to see like a villain character. And this is what got me thinking as well. As soon as after watched this episode, I was thinking of like MCU stuff, what's happening and everything like that. I was like, hey, can they just do like a Doctor Doom movie just about Doctor Doom himself? Like, make a villain movie? Like, just do it.
We talked about that a while ago when we talked about Secret Invasion. I think we
Yeah,
were
we
like a
actually
Doctor
talked about
Doom like show movie, whatever miniseries like they're doing with Loki would be awesome because
it would be
this has
awesome.
improved Loki's character, who was already a fan favorite and was really awesome, just to
Yep.
another level because the first season was awesome and this season seems to be better, honestly. I really enjoyed it, but at least the start of this is so good. And yeah, I would love to see something like that. But God knows where MCU's going. Hopefully it's strong, and hopefully everything else is good. We don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see what comes. Obviously,
Yeah.
there will be another episode of Loki coming out this week, and it's only 6 episode season, which is kind of disappointing because
Yep.
we'd be getting like 8 episodes with Ahsoka and stuff like that. But if as long as it stays like this, and this is the only problem with a lot of the MCU shows, besides the first season of Loki, where it just went downhill about halfway.
Yep.
I hope it doesn't do the same thing. I hope it stays like the first season where we're leaving at the end of it, just being like, what the type thing. That's what I want. I want to feel the same way I did in the first season.
Yes. And I hope that considering first season went, this one does it as well.
Yes.
Oh boy. Marvel.
Oh boy. Marvel. Good old Marvel.
Marvel. Yeah.
Do we have anything else to say? We're coming here.
Night, everybody.
All right. Well, that's a wrap on another episode of We Talk Film. Thanks for joining us yet again. Go and make sure to follow us on all our social medias. We're everywhere. You can download us everywhere. We're on YouTube. If you want to watch our beautiful faces and see Clayton on a green screen, you can do whatever you want with that footage. I will upload that raw to you. You can put them in everything. But we'll see you guys next time here at We Talk Film. Peace out.
Bye-bye. I really am the producer, hey.
You are the producer, man. That's how it's always been. Literally from the first get-go of this thing was your idea. And you just came up to me being like, hey, Barry, you want to host it? And then I was like, sure. And then I came up with the name and the logo, and that was it. That's the only thing I've contributed. And I obviously do the YouTube side, but
Yeah, and that's still the only thing he's contributed. No, I'm kidding.
Exactly.
Good. Oh, welcome to the directors, everybody.
Welcome to the directors.
Craig out.
Yeah, kick Craig out so we can get the videos back up without Craig. Different settings. Good old Craigie boy. And hopefully his audio. The audio was all right. The audio was good. It got better.
We can talk about
the more we talked.
I got some. We can talk about stuff in because started watching Gen V and it's good.
Gen V is absolutely amazing. Have you watched all 4 episodes of the new season?
It was all right. I think that means Craig would have picked it up all right.
Okay, you're being delayed again.
Tends to pick it up slightly better.
It's delaying again. As soon as we kick Craig out, it's gone to crap.
So, I'm happy.
Ow. We can fix this. I can fix this. I can figure out a way to fix this.
So I've got one more episode that's out, but I've seen the first 3. Oh shit! It's because I'm downloading Craig audio. I've already.
Yep, that's why. That's why you're being crappy. You're like a full 30 seconds behind. It'll be fine, everyone. It'll be fine. Hey, you got me here. It's your boy Barry. I'm doing things, So yeah, basically, Clayton is my boss. If you haven't realized that already, he is. I just rock up, I host it, I present it, and Clayton was the man with the plan most of the time. He's the one that tells me to go see the films. This is so bad. Now the audience can see my reaction to what Clayton looks like, which is great because I record it live and everything. So Clayton will be super delayed on the video. Just think about what you're going to say in 5 minutes from now.
I can fire him.
What? Oh.
We don't have a plan, Barry. We have no plan. The plan is make a plan every week. Why is it download Craig audio? I gotta not do it.
No, because you're like a full minute behind, man. That's why I'm laughing my head off.
Okay. Next week I will load the audio.
All right, everyone. I'll catch you next time.
I was talking
We'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Yeah, it's okay. It's finished downloading. Is it back to normal now?
No, I don't
Hi,
think so.